Welcome to week 5 of the Elestriad, where DistantCoder, representing Aeolus and the Wind Pantheon, is throwing down against Magnitude, representing Poseidon and the Water Pantheon. This clash is a very interesting one, as Coder is undefeated and Magnitude has yet to defeat anybody up until this point. This could be the clash that ultimately turns it all around and gives Magnitude his first win. Be sure to leave a comment down below who you think you got in this one. You can check out the pre-game deck builders on the description below, or in the description below rather, if you want to see what these two are bringing. But basically, long story short, Coder's got his Viscerus now, he's got Earthquakes, he's got Penterror, and Magnitude has a multitude of different things. I don't know if I've ever seen this many unique cards built into a deck, but surely he will stumble into the strategy he needs to ultimately come out to victory, right? Right? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's jump into the clash. And here we go. DistantCoder looks to be kicking things off right here with a Wind Spirit, and he is going to play down a Sorlet. Sorlet gives him a really powerful 5-attack body to start off this clash, and Steve gonna get a 6 card in his hand. This is his opportunity to make a splash. This is his opportunity to show what he can do. He has had so many doubters throughout the Elestriad. If he can somehow clutch up against Coder, this would be absolutely epic. And he's going to start things off with the Nectar of the Gods. For those who don't know, Magnitude was actually the first person to play Elestrals aside from myself. He came over to my house last summer. We played on my back deck. We played with Elestrals, you know, glued onto Pokemon cards, basically, and that's how we started making Elestrals. He also named the game Elestrals. It was his idea. We were struggling to figure out what to call it. Fun fact, it was previously called Spiritures, but he came up with the name Elestrals among a list of probably 500 other names, and I was like, I like this one, and I kind of picked it out. It was actually originally Elestral, but I added the S at the end. He's going to take his Necrof, crash it into Coder's Sorlet, and now a Pigus hits the field here, and Pigus is going to be able to take out one of the runes. There goes a Tornado that Magnitude was setting as a bluff on the back row, and now Pigus is going to be able to fire forward 1 Spirit of damage to Magnitude here, as DistantCoder looks to try to gain an advantage with the Pigus. Steve has a really open window here with no back row to deal with. Let's see what he's got. He's got a Thunder Spirit and an Elestrals. That's going to allow him to search his deck for his Poseidon and be able to potentially Nexus some spirits onto the field, maybe pull off that big combo that he's been looking to do. He's been able to execute it before, but never to kind of any sort of long-lasting success. He does indeed grab Poseidon, who again has considered exiling Magnitude from Atlantis, but given his history in the Elestrals world, he's kept him around. He's going to play the Poseidon too. He's going to throw it down. A risky play here if you're not going to make a push right now, because you're basically asking to get Pigus, but he's going to Nexus onto the Elechic, very aggro, and now he's going to be able to hit that Pigus and deal 1 damage to DistantCoder as a result. And that is going to be, you know, chipping away at DistantCoder. One thing I didn't notice, though, I didn't see DistantCoder actually take a spirit from that Necrof on that first turn. So I'm not sure if that was just simply missed or if the Necrof was misenchanted. But Coder's going to go for a turn here, and he is going to play a Thunder Spirit. And let's see what else he's got. He's cooking something. And it's going to be a Wind Spirit. That's going to probably be a Nectar of the Gods. It is going to be a Nectar of the Gods. Going to be able to draw 2 cards, add them to his hand, and further whatever strategy he's looking to do. If you're Magnitude here, you got to be hoping you have a Tsunami face down. Otherwise, you're probably going to get run over. And here comes a Viscerus. Let's listen in.
It's a good one.
I'll attempt to enter battle.
Gonna use Tsunami.
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. I'm going to use a Water Spirit to play Sluggle in attack position. Give me 3 water back.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
I really should have shuffled this deck better.
I am going to use Poseidon's ability to Nexus onto Sluggle. So I got, and Viscerus has how much defense?
2.
2. All right, so Electric's going to attack Viscerus, destroy it. And then Sluggle's going to hit you for 2.
Yeah, that's fine.
Huge plays from Steve there, and a fun fact, Viscerus was actually created to honor Magnitude. I told the story of how Magnitude was one of the original playtesters, the first person to play Elestrals with me, came up with the name, all this stuff, right? And I said to him, Steve, I'd love to honor you with an Elestral in the game. Tell me what you want, and then ultimately Viscerus was born as a result. So kind of funny that he gets to face off against it and executes a really good strategy there with Tsunami and then taking it out, making it much less of a threat. And somehow, someway, Magnitude has board advantage here, but not for long, as Sorlet's going to hit the field and take out his Elechic. Manitude won't take any spirit damage there, but obviously with no back row, he's not able to hold it down. And now Sluggle's sitting there, but it is a prime target to be ascended. Does Steve have an ascension? He's got a Thunder Spirit and a Boom Bat. He's going to be able to boom onto that Sorlet if he wants to do so. And he's also got a really unique play where he could Nexus from Poseidon onto Boom Bat, boom with Boom Bat, and keep it alive. He's going to do it, this mad lad. I love it. He's going to use Poseidon's Nexus effect to be able to boom off Boom Bat and keep it alive. Does Coder have an answer? He does. He has the Gorgon's Gaze, which is going to shut down Boom Bat's effect. And obviously, Boom Bat is a cost effect in order 2, which means that the Spirit is expended, and then Gorgon's Gaze can negate the effect on the chain and prevent Boom Bat from really doing anything there. So a pretty good outcome if you're DistantCoder, right? He's able to get his Gorgons out. He stops the Boom Bat. Manitude makes a little bit of a, in my opinion, a slight misplay. He probably could have turned his Sluggle to defense position, although I doubt it's going to matter, but he could have. And then here comes a Water Spirit. Is this going to be a Veritaqua? What is this? This is going to be a Veritaqua. So this is a perfect immunity to Tsunami. Let's see if Manitude has the back row to deal with the Sorlet and the Veritaqua. That's one of the downsides to Steve running water this season, is the fact that Veritaqua and other water Elestrals can so easily counter him. So he's had to kind of fight that uphill battle all season long. Like, water has a few really good tools, Tsunami being the main one, but in this case, he's going to end up losing both of his Elestrals and any momentum he previously had on the field. It's not over yet, though. Manitude is vying for some positioning here. He has 2 Water Spirits and a Nectar of the Gods. Going to draw a couple more cards, add to his hand. Only 1 back row for Coder, Veritaqua, and Sorlet sitting there. Something like a Galaxy could be pretty nice right now as a way to try to get back into this, be able to take down that Veritaqua. Maybe a Mistasian in defense position could be pretty solid, although you are potentially dealing with the Veritaqua hitting it. Pika's gonna hit the field. That's gonna be able to take out that face down rune from DistantCoder. Coder seems to be debating, do I want to use it? He is gonna poison tip arrow the Pika. So he knows I'm losing my PTA no matter what. I might as well use it to get rid of that Sorlet, so that way I can deal a little bit more damage on the following turn. And Pigas is not going to be able to do any sort of offensive damage since it'll have 0 attack after the poison tipped arrow. So it ends up being kind of a sitting duck, or in this case, a sitting foul. And in the end phase, that Pigas will surely go down. Manitude thinking about his play, doesn't really have a whole lot he can do here. Obviously, the Spirit is going to be expended from Coder as we expect to see, and Pigas goes down. This is where Coder has a chance to really take advantage of this one. 2 Elestrals on board. He's about to get a third, it seems. Let's find out. It's going to be a Wind Spirit, and then we're going to see a Pigas of his own, potentially targeting down one of those back row. Super clutch, because it could basically invalidate Tsunami here, and it looks like he is going to hit a Tsunami. So Manitude, kind of unfortunately, there's no reason to play the Tsunami, because all you would do is turn the Pigas to defense, which doesn't really get you anywhere. It's 1 Spirit or 1 Spirit, so it's neither here nor there. He's forced to kind of take a big hit here, but he's not out. There's no back row for Coder. Manitude has an opportunity to potentially come back on this. Again, the key draw he would need would be a Galaxy and then some back row to protect it. Can he pull that Galaxy out to potentially get rid of that Veritaqua and allow him to set up for future turns? He's looking at some of his face down runes, maybe an Ambrosia or something that he's looking to activate during his main phase here. Steve picking up his Underworld, or his Spirit deck rather, debating on a play. Looks like he is going to activate Drops of Leaf. It's going to allow him to recycle some of those cards in his hand. An Aephros, a Circle the Sky, and a P-Gust. So he's going to swap all 3 of those out and get 4 new cards from the top of his deck. The only other option you could have potentially gone there with is you could have played the Aephros, used the Nexus from the Poseidon to potentially draw that way. But again, with the Veritaqua staring him down, he really needs to get a Galaxy to be able to kind of pull off any sort of a combo play. I think there is a world where if he can turbo something out with like the Tadpuff strategy, maybe there's some value there, but he does get the Galaxy. We've been talking about this for a few turns. Understand that Galaxy is a really important piece of the puzzle for him. He's got to get this thing on the field because it's one of the only things that can kind of deal with some of the threats that he's facing down. So if he's able to take out that Veritaqua or the Tadpuff here, or the Pigas here, that could be really useful. The Sorlet obviously can crash into it, but he's going to at least force some tough decisions there. Steve going to use that Spirit from Poseidon onto the Galaxy to allow him to deal an extra Spirit damage to DistantCoder and kind of bring him a little bit lower. And he opts to go for the Pigas, not the Veritaqua here, which I guess I don't totally disagree with. I think that you could have gone either way. I would have said the Veritaqua just because of Mistasian. But let's listen in, see what's going on.
Draw for turn. I will move to my main phase. I will enchant water to my Sorlet.
Okay.
I will then use the effect of my Sorlet to use a Wind Spirit to turn your Galaxy to defense mode.
I don't like that. Can you not do that? Is it possible?
I'm gonna do that.
Okay, all right. I figured to ask, right?
And then I'll set one, and then I will enter the battle phase.
Yep.
I will attempt to attack with Veritaqua onto the Galaxy.
Yeah, you got it. And then 2
Destroy
damage. Right?
Veritaqua's effect, and then Sorlet 2 damage direct.
So I can't win now because I know. So you win.
That is correct. You are unable to activate any following cards.
Oh my goodness, the card I needed was coming up next. Bummer.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, this was awful. I drew triple Veritaqua as my 2 draws in both turns. So I opened only Elestrals, and I drew Veritaqua.
Surprise to nobody, DistantCoder pulls off the win and moves to 5-0 in the Elestriad. But I'll tell you what, Magnitude kept it a close one there. That Galaxy at the end was pretty clutch, but with Sorlet being able to change its position to defense and ultimately make its lowest stat kind of exposed there, Veritaqua able to clean it up and kind of deal the final blow for Magnitude. I really like the misenchant on Sorlet there, playing around Tsunami. Pretty smart play from DistantCoder, always thinking a few steps ahead, and he got him down to 2 spirits, so it wasn't like this wasn't a close one. It was definitely a close one, but unfortunately, Magnitude sinks to the depths once again and falls to 0-5. Be sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and stay tuned for more clashes this week for the Elestriad as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. Always be sure to check out Elestriad.com for all sorts of updates, stats, and more. I'll see you guys in the next one.